What's going on, everyone? Today we have the 2019 Chevrolet Tahoe. Although it hasn't really been changed lately, it's still a big, bad, spacious, true SUV that is super capable and offers a lot of features. Today I'm going to give you a full review of the exterior, the interior, cargo space, then we're going to go for a test drive. Let's get started. The Chevy Tahoe dates back to the 2015 model year with not a whole lot of changes since then, but there is a new model coming out probably in 2020. And it's still just a big, bad family hauler that can seat 8 people with a V8 engine and tow a bunch of stuff as well. And it's just a really nice, well-rounded SUV. Before I get started, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to Britain Chevrolet here in Greenville, Texas. It's a family-owned dealership. If you're ever in the DFW area, please be sure to check them out. They were super generous to let me take this Tahoe out today. Thank you so much for tuning in today, everybody. Today we have the Tahoe LT, but it has some extra options as well that we'll go through, including the Texas Edition package. But starting out on the front with all of the features, every Tahoe is going to give you LED daytime running lights, and you can see those right underneath of the headlight there. We got halogen headlights here, although you can get HID headlights on the Premier model. And then we have the optional fog lights down there as well. Those are standard on the Premier model, and those are also halogen bulbs. One interesting thing about the Tahoe's grille is that there's actually active arrow shutters in there. And this paint color right here is called Siren Red. It's a Siren Red tint coat. I think it looks pretty nice. It fits this Tahoe pretty well, especially with these wheels. We have 22-inch wheels, which are not the standard wheels. These are upgraded premium painted wheels. They really do look pretty sharp. It's kind of a contrast of a chrome and like a matte silver look. And I think they look pretty nice. I'd love to know what you guys think. They're definitely large wheels. They do take away from some of the rubber size on here. Otherwise, you'll typically get 17 to 18-inch wheels on lower level Tahoes. The mirrors on the Tahoe, on our LT model, we don't have the turn signals. We will get those, as well as power folding mirrors and auto dimming mirrors on the Premier model. Most Tahoes will give you a blind spot mirror, but we actually have the blind spot system, so we don't have that in our mirror. One thing I really appreciate about the Tahoe is that it's kept its brawny, boxy shape. It still is like a true SUV in a sense, in that it still looks like one as well, and it's still very capable. We also have the black textured running boards on the bottom. You can actually get power retractable steps that are optional on the Premier model. And another thing on the Premier model that is actually standard is the magnetic ride control, which is a Corvette-inspired damping system that will give you a smoother ride. But we'll talk about the ride comfort here in a little bit. There's also a limited slip differential, and we have a 2-wheel drive model right here. You can get a 4-wheel drive Tahoe, of course, with a true 4-wheel drive system. If you're curious about just how big the Tahoe is, it's 204 inches long, compared to the Suburban that's 224 inches long. And then the Ford Expedition that was recently redesigned slots in there at 210 inches when it compares to this Tahoe. And as we go around the back, we still have the nice boxy upright rear end back here. Not a whole lot going on. As far as the standard safety features go, you'll have rain sensing windshield wipers and rear parking sonar, and then we have the enhanced driver alert package that gives us forward collision alert, low speed forward automatic braking, lane keep assist with departure warning, automatic high beams, and then optional equipment or upgraded equipment for the Premier is side blind zone alert with rear cross traffic alert, front parking sonar, and adaptive cruise control. As we take a look at the cargo area of our Tahoe, ours has the optional hands-free programmable liftgate, so you just stick your foot underneath of there and it will open right up. And to give you guys an idea, this is actually opened up to 3/4 of the way instead of all the way, so you can program that how you choose. Here's a look behind the third row, which will give you 15.2 cubic feet. It's not too bad. You can fit a fair amount of luggage back here, plus you have a hook and a 12-volt power outlet. And then here's a little bag, kind of a little cargo storage bag back here, plus an additional underfloor storage space right here, which can be very handy for things maybe like jumper cables or items you just want out of sight. And then in addition to that, we have power folding third row seats. So you don't have to go around front or push or pull anything. You have an optional power folding seat, and it's standard on the premium model. And then this is a look at all the space that you have. It'll be 51.7 cubic feet like this. Plus, we have power folding second row seats as well, and they all fold flat, as you can see, and that'll give you 94.7 cubic feet with all the seats folded, and there's quite a bit of space from the seats up to the ceiling as well. Overall, a nice, big, spacious area, perfect for a family vehicle. The Tahoe does come with the smart key system. The lower end Tahoes will not give you the smart key, but we have this smart key with this nice soft key fob. You can open up the rear end, higher or lower, and you have remote start. As long as you have the key with you, in order to get in the vehicle or to lock the vehicle, you just hit that button. Then to unlock it, you hit it again, and you're good to go. Now hopping inside of the front seat of the Chevy Tahoe. The base model will give you cloth seats, but we have leather 10-way power adjustable seats with 2-way lumbar support, and the passenger seat is also power adjustable with lumbar support. On the LT model, they will be heated leather seats that I'll show you in just a second. Once you get to the Premier, you get 12-way power, so that is 4-way lumbar support, and they're going to be heated and ventilated. The Premier model gives you a standard power adjustable steering wheel. The rest of them are manual, but we have the optional power adjustable steering wheel, which is both tilt and telescoping, and it's not too difficult to get it where you want it. It seems to have a pretty good motion, and we have a leather heated steering wheel. One thing to note for some riders is that the passenger side gets a pretty good grab handle right over there. And another thing is we have power adjustable pedals for the shorter drivers that can't reach the pedals as well. You can pull them up, and it's accommodating for many people. Now, in terms of how the seats actually feel, the leather feels okay. We've got some decent bolstering on the sides. They're not necessarily the plushest seats, but they seem to be very supportive. In my very short time in here, I've been comfortable in them. I've had no complaints at all. I'm 5'9". I have no problems fitting in here at all. I've got great headroom. We don't have a sunroof in this particular model. All right, let me give you a quick look at all of the interior features. First, we have a nice soft material up here where your elbow might go. This part right here, this thin part is not, it's part of the rest of the door. Otherwise, this is soft. You have a nice soft padded armrest. We've got some trim pieces right here as well. There is some storage in here, and that is always good to see, as well as a large storage bin down there. 2 bottle holders, and my large bottle fits easily in there as well. Down there are your memory seat settings, and then we have the Bose speaker sound system. Right on the inside, there is the lighting controls right there, and controls for your fog lights to just push it in. Right over here, you have your parking sonar, traction control, your lane keeping assist, and your ability to adjust the pedals in or out, which is very convenient for people that are shorter. As I said, this is the leather-wrapped heated steering wheel. It's very familiar with other Chevy vehicles. You've got soft touch materials right here. You can turn your automatic braking off or on, or adjust that right there. Cruise control, no adaptive cruise in this particular model. On this side, you've got controls for your screen up above that I'll show you, and then your Bluetooth and voice controls. The steering wheel is a fairly soft material. It feels nice. I like how there's a big opening in the middle, but you still have grab handles up here as well. No sport grips up here, but it seems to be a pretty decent mid-range amount of girth. In order to start the vehicle, foot on the brake, push button start, starts right up. Now this gauge cluster is very similar to other Chevrolet vehicles. You've got the 4.2-inch screen in the middle. You've got the speedometer right there. You can adjust through a trip computer. There's some various information you can see on here. Nothing too extravagant, not a big, large digital display, but there's enough information that you need to know. As we look across the rest of the dash, you've got nice soft materials up here with some fake stitching up there as well. Soft materials carry out across the dash. This is also a softer material with the stitching running across for a nice look. And then one cool feature, I'll just show you this right away. You might think it's a gimmick, but you can push this button, kick that screen out of the way. You've probably seen that on other Chevy vehicles, but there's a USB port back there if you want to stash something back there to charge it. Otherwise, you can just kind of hide things or, you know, impress your friends or whatever you want to do. This screen is different than the newest Chevrolet screens. It's the MyLink system. So it's got more color than the newest system. The newer systems don't have as much color. They're a little bit more modern looking, but this still, it works just fine. It functions fine. It seems to be fast enough. There are various apps. It's very quick and short to go where you need to go. We have the Bose 9-speaker system on here, and that's on the LT model. You'll get a surround sound 10-speaker system on the Premier model, and it's got some pretty good bass. Also on here, you will have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, Sirius XM. You even have a CD player down below that I'll show you, HD radio, and there are some physical buttons over here as well. So that is nice to see. Quick shortcuts. This is the button you use to open it up. Got a soft rubbery material around these dials right here. So A very easy to use setup, simple layout there. Just below that, we have our dual zone climate control, and it's technically tri-zone because you have controls for the rear as well, and they have their own controls. You still have the nice rubber materials around here, easy to use, easy layout, no problems with that. Just over to the side is where we have our heated seat functions, and you can have both the back and bottom heated or the back only heated, and it's three-way. Ventilated seats will be on the Premier model for you and your passenger. And then just down here we have a couple more power ports. We've got a 12-volt power outlet, and then you have two USB ports right there. And then there is a little rubber mat down here. This storage bin is not as big as I would have hoped, but you can stash a few things down there. The bottle holders are typical Chevy. They have these rubber grips on the inside to accommodate smaller drinks. My large bottle fits in there just fine. Next to our legs, we have this trim piece right here and another storage bin right there. This is a softer material as well, right next to your knee if your knee ever finds its way over there. The passenger also gets a storage bin just like that. Our model does not have wireless charging. This is a little bit thin for wider phones. This is an iPhone 7 Plus, but it is a textured mat underneath of here. This whole armrest is large, soft. This is something I really love. You and your passengers have tons of room, very big. Go ahead and open it up, and there's quite a bit of space in here as well. You got a storage bin right there. You've got a couple more USB ports, an auxiliary port. There's a 12-volt power outlet again right there. And it's got little rack on each side if you need to put folders in here, so it can be a work office as well. And there's an LED light down there as well. Chevrolet gives us a locking glove box that is soft opening, and it's about average size, not quite as big as I'd expect for a vehicle of this size. Our entire visor slides. It is a pretty good size visor. You also have vanity lights. Right up above, you can control your lift gate. You can have it open up to 3/4 of the way. You can have it open up all of the way, so you can control that easily right there. You also have garage controls here. You've got LED lighting up here as well for your map lights, an automatic dimming rearview mirror with the OnStar in there. And then we have a sunglass holder, of course, as well as a conversation mirror. So you can keep an eye on your kids back there or passengers. If you don't want to turn around and look, you can have that going and then still be able to see. And then one last little look at the interior for visibility. Since you have a boxy shape, you actually get better visibility than some of the mainstream crossovers. And you can, if you have those seats folded or the headrest out of the way, your visibility really is not too bad. But that's a look at the interior of the Chevy Tahoe. Now to give you a quick look at the back seat, the materials on the door are just like they are up front. You've got soft materials for your arm. You've got a bottle holder right here that's actually decent size. A little storage cubby right here, another storage bin and bottle holders down there. There's also a grab handle to make it easy for people to get in, and a no blank handle, of course. My knee space is pretty good. No complaints with that. My foot space actually was really good as well, even with that seat not all the way up. So tons of space for my feet. The center does not have hardly any hump at all, so it shouldn't be any problem for people sitting in the middle. There's a storage bin right there, a 3-prong plug right here as well. Plus, the passengers also get their own climate control back here. And there's going to be heated seats standard on the premium model as well. So that's really nice. Plus a 12-volt power outlet. No USBs, but you can obviously plug those in if you want to. There's also a center folding armrest with some nice sized bottle holders as well, and possibly a little storage bin for a phone. Up above are the AC vents and LED lights, and my headroom was really good. Getting into the third row is really quite a breeze. So there's a few different ways that you can do this. First, you've got this handle right here. I'll show you another little button in a second, but you don't really have to do anything. You just pull the handle, that will fold down. So then you can fold it like that instead of going to the back as well. And then you can pull the handle again, and it'll just pop right up. Not very much effort required, and you have a pretty large area to step inside. Let's go ahead and check it out. Now that I'm in the third row, you can get an idea for my knee space and my foot space right here. The biggest downfall to the third row in the Tahoe is that with the suspension setup, the seat is actually fairly high. So my knee space is fine, but the seat does not give you a whole lot of thigh support. It should be fine for children. We have a 12-volt power outlet back here. You can see a couple more cup holders on my side as well. Plus on the other side, there's another cup holder, a little storage bin as well. And then up above, we have the AC vents, LED lighting, and it's just really nice that you have AC vents right by your face. And then this is a little button that you can push to get out, or you can do that to get it in, and it'll automatically fold the seat down, and then you just pull the little rope, and then you're good to go. Underneath the hood of the Tahoe, we get a couple different engine options that are shared with the Suburban as well as the Silverado. In here, we have the 5.3 liter V8 naturally aspirated engine that puts out 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque, and that's paired with a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, the Premier can give you the 6.2 liter V8 as well as the RST Tahoe that gives you 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque, and that is now paired with the 10-speed automatic transmission that I drove in the Silverado earlier this year. This engine does come with active fuel management where it will deactivate cylinders, but it's not as in-depth as the new Silverado where it can go down to just one cylinder. This is either a 4-cylinder or an 8-cylinder on and off configuration. And for the 5.3, with this 2-wheel drive model that we have, we'll get 15 miles per gallon in the city, 22 on the highway, and 18 combined. And the 6.2 liter configured like this, we'll get 14 in the city, 23 on the highway, one more than the 5.3 liter, and then 17 combined. Now, one thing about the Tahoe that a lot of the people that I know that own Tahoes or have owned Tahoes or Suburbans is that it can tow. It can go off-road. This thing is definitely very capable. And configured with the 2-wheel drive, 5.3 liter, and the max trailering package, you can tow up to 8,600 pounds. All right, everyone, thank you so much for sticking around for the test drive. Now, if you've watched this far, go ahead and subscribe down below because I do reviews every single week. Some of them more detailed than this, night shots, things like that. But let's go ahead and get started. So my first impression of the Tahoe is that it kind of has a I get mixed feelings about it in terms of it being more of a kind of a rugged vehicle or a softer, comfortable vehicle. And I think that's normal because it can kind of be both. It's a fairly plush, big, it can be a luxurious vehicle, but still be capable with this V8, with the towing ability, the off-road ability, and I like that a lot. I've driven the 5.3 liter in Silverado multiple times and in here multiple times, and I've always found it to be fairly smooth. It's a nice engine, it sounds nice, it seems to be a good engine. The one thing about it though is that the power numbers are less than competitors like the Expedition, the Toyota Sequoia, the Nissan Armada, but there's a 6.2 liter that can bump the power up quite a bit. 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. That's pretty massive. If you want to get that, you can get that. But if you don't care about the power and you just want a smooth driving experience, this is great. Now, I'm gonna give you a quick little acceleration right here. A little bit of foot down. And I did not put it down, but a little bit of throttle. It's pretty quick to respond. I love the naturally aspirated engine that we have here. You do have to get the RPMs up a little bit in order to start to get some thrust out of here, but you've got plenty of power. One thing that I would question though is if you have a Suburban and if you have a car full of people with 5.3, I would kind of be curious if it feels bogged down at times. It's still a lot of power, but I could imagine that it's not going to feel as swift as you want it to. The ride in here overall is a very comfortable ride. It's not obtrusive at all. It's not a bumpy ride. I'm on a road that's kind of an up and down. There's a lot of pieces of broken pavement, even though you probably can't really see that on the camera. But it does not have a fully independent rear suspension yet. It's going to be getting one in 2020, but that helps it be capable. But even with that, it's still a pretty soft ride, and we have 22-inch wheels, so we don't have the thickest rubber on here, but it still isolates things pretty well. The weight of the steering wheel is just perfect, honestly, for a family vehicle. With light maneuvering, it's a pretty lightweight steering wheel. Let's go ahead and get on it. And it's a high revving engine, as you can see right there, but it is very smooth. This 6-speed, it doesn't have as many gears as some other options out there, but I don't know, I don't think it really needs it. When you get the 10-speed transmission with the 6.2, you actually get one more mpg better on the highway. So if you do a lot of highway driving, if you want some extra power, go for the 6.2. That road back there, you probably didn't hardly even notice, but it's kind of a rocky surfaced road, a small portion of it. And actually, this one right here. So it's not typically a quiet road, but it's pretty quiet in here. There's maybe a little bit of wind noise, but it's also pretty windy. Now, the Premier gets more acoustic glass. This has thick windows over here, but these are not acoustic. The Premier, you have acoustic glass. And I'm not sure if it's the side windows or the windshield, but it should be quieter on that one. And then taking a corner, it's definitely a big vehicle. It's a heavy vehicle, but you have good enough responsiveness with the steering wheel. I don't think anybody would ever really feel uncomfortable driving this thing around or even going through some curvy roads. It still has a pretty planted feel, although you do get some body lean, which is expected for a vehicle of this size. The braking in here, it feels pretty good. The brakes are not overly sensitive. They're not overly soft. I don't know the true braking performance. This is a dealership vehicle, so I'm not going to just slam on the brakes, but they seem to do a good job and they feel normal. Even when you get on it, it's not super loud and annoying and obnoxious from an engine, like a smaller engine potentially. It's a very smooth sounding engine. It gives you power, and it's just a smooth riding vehicle overall. I'm really excited to see the next generation Tahoe because I think they're going to make some pretty big changes to it, including the independent rear suspension, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. This has maybe a little bit of that jitteriness, but it's not that bad at all. I personally have been comfortable in here in my short time. I've had no complaints with it really. The ride comfort is good enough. The handling is about what you'd expect for a big vehicle. You've got 8,600 pounds of towing capability, a V8 engine. You can seat 8 people. The third row is pretty darn low to the ground, so you don't have a lot of thigh support. It would be fine for children. There's enough space lengthwise, but if you really need the third row for adults, definitely go for the Suburban. Now, hopefully I can get a Tahoe for a full week review so I can show you guys a little bit more, like some of the night lighting, do a stereo test, put some more stuff in here and just kind of get a better feel for it after a week. And maybe we'll get that with the 2020 model. Thank y'all so much for sticking around. Big thanks to Britain Chevrolet for providing this Chevy Tahoe. And thank y'all so much. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you next time.